Alrighty, well, hello everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Four Roads Out of Warba, featuring the Warba Quartet. Now, I am Bob, and the rest of the Warba Quartet is...
I am Doo-Doo.
Hi, I'm Bort.
Tippy Tater Alligator.
And we would love to thank everybody for taking time to join us. Just a little quick background about this thing. We're just four buddies, best friends, cousins, brothers. We just enjoy having a good time. So we figured, you know what? Let's sit down and see where this goes. So we decided, let's try a podcast, talk about stuff we like talking about. And we have so much knowledge to pass on to the world that we're very excited for you to get that knowledge too. Kidding. So we're looking forward to this. I hope you have a good time listening to it. And tonight, we're going to start off with our first topic, which these three beautiful gentlemen allowed me to pick. So I'm very happy about this. We're going to be ranking the Metallica albums. Metallica's always been my battery went to 10%. Apologize for that.
Well, we're on a time tonight.
Yes. Metallica's always been a big part of my life. And I know the other gentlemen here as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. We're going to do this every week. Somebody's going to take a little bit different hosting time every week, and they're going to take the topic and kind of run with it. So bear with us. This is new to all of us, and let's just see where it goes. So how are you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, so it's kind of exciting. Last week we did an initial trial run, and none of our phones exploded, so that was good. We didn't break anything. So yeah, we had a good trial run. We figured, all right, let's give it the first actual episode here.
I'm just amazed that this idea of yours actually came to fruition. I mean, we've been talking about this for months and months, and here we are. And I'm just so excited for all three people and our mom that's going to listen to it.
Exactly. So yeah, the rankings, we're not going to be too in depth with them or too, it has to be this certain way. Everybody's got different rankings. I know, I'm a kind of a deep cut guy. I look at, not just the album, but I'm also looking at the recording and all that stuff. But there are people that might just focus on the song stuff. So everybody's going to be a little bit different. But that's kind of the fun of this.
I would say I'm more of a lyricist guy. I like the words. I have one album that, somebody said that the album, all the songs kind of sound the same, but I chose it and it's high up on my list just because of the words that they use to write the songs and the way they put them together. But I'll go first if you want me to.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Before we get on to yours, Jace, what did you kind of look into? Or I'm sorry, Bort.
Bort.
Well, there goes my secret identity. You ever see that Spider-Man where they unmask Spider-Man and then they're like, I have no idea who this is.
Yeah. Well, Jace, I hate to break to you, I think Mom already knows what your real name. So
yeah.
But what did you use to rank them, Jace? Or Bort.
My name's Bort. Look for the license plates.
Okay.
Me, I mean, okay, Metallica was the first rock band I got into, back in 1998. And, and so I guess that was me trying to be rebellious teenager, as you're getting into them too and stuff like that. Then I got to listen to him more with Matt, as the alligator. We're gonna
0 for 2.
As it goes on, it'll get easier.
Yep.
Yeah. As we, as I, went to college and stuff, we would listen to it together and stuff like that. And, it's just always sort of been there. My musical tastes have changed over the past 20 years. So my ratings are more how I feel about it now, how easy it is for me to listen to the album now, compared to what I thought back then.
Okay, interesting. And Tippy Tater Alligator, how do you rank them?
I'm using a combination of historical context and how I feel about them now.
Okay.
As far as my list goes, the top albums, they really haven't changed ever since I was like, say in my late teens, mid to late teens, I would say. And the bottom one definitely is, it's going to stay there. But everything in the middle is kind of swapped around a little bit. So
yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun because I actually didn't really think of how I actually would rank the albums. I always I always just assumed the top 4 albums are the best albums ever. But when I actually started thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? There are different things that might bump them a little lower on my list, and I found out they actually did. So my list did not turn out the way I thought it would, but it was kind of interesting to actually take that, time to do it. Anybody else surprised by their own list?
No.
Not really. Like I said, there's just a few things in the middle that kind of jumped around a bit, and I did go listen back to a lot of material that I haven't listened to in a long time, and just really try not to use any outside influences. Just my own opinion.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, Doodoo,
yes.
If you would be so kind, I would love to hear your rankings.
All right. Well, my list, I went with the studio albums, but I didn't include S&M because I'm not a big live studio album guy at all. So I went with number 11 as Saint Anger, just because I've never listened to it actually. And enough people have said that it sucked, and I never listened to it.
You're probably right to believe them.
Yeah.
I think you should see with your own eyes, hear with your own ears, but we'll just leave it at that.
Number 10, I went Death Magnetic, just for a lot of these are songs that I really enjoy. Day That Never Comes. That's a good song. 9, I got Kill 'Em All. Whiplash, phenomenal. I like that song. 8, I got Ride the Lightning. Creeping Death, Fade to Black. 7, Master of Puppets. Good album. I put Garage Inc. at number 6, just strictly for Whiskey in a Jarro. Really enjoy that song.
Oh yeah,
that. I drove truck over the road for like 20 years, and these songs helped me get through a lot of late night drives where I had to be somewhere in the morning, and I had a bed 4 feet behind me, but I couldn't sleep in it. I'd keep going. 5 is Reload. Fuel, Give Me Fuel, just phenomenal song.
Especially for driving on the road.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. 4, I got Load. 2x4, King Nothing, really like those songs. 3, Injustice for All. One of my favorite, tied for first, is Harvester of Sorrow. I'd never heard that song until Tippy Tater Alligator and Bob and I went to U.S. Bank Stadium and watched that concert, and just kind of fell in love with the song, and I like it. 2, I have Hardwired to Self-Destruct, and that was the album that I was talking about. People say it sounds the same and stuff, but like the wording behind Confusion with people with PTSD, and there's a song in there, I can't think of it right now, but for Lemmy of Motorhead. And
Murder One,
thank you.
Yep.
And the drums on Now That We're Dead, I really like that. That's fun.
Yeah, those drums are cool, especially they do it live. They do like a little that drum thing with all the band. Looks cool. It's cool to hear.
Yep. And then 1, of course, I got the Black Album, and that's simply because, Sabbath True and Rome. I mean, driving across Iowa at 2:00 in the morning, just trying to stay awake, listening to good music, and that album helped me get over 2 girlfriends. So thank you. And
sorry, go on.
No, and that's pretty much what I got.
I think my favorite Metallica memory with you, Doo-Doo, was at that U.S. Bank Stadium when me and Tippy Tater Alligator, we were hoping that they would play Wherever I May Roam.
Yeah.
And then when it came on, the excitement that I saw on your face was incredible.
That was my theme song, driving for sure, because I never knew where I was going and where I was going to lay my head. And another good memory from that, too, though, is when they started playing Sabbath True.
Yep.
And you and Bob started singing. But, yeah, so that's my list in a nutshell.
I remember picking you guys up from that concert. I got to listen to the last 4 songs from about a half mile down the road.
Oh, dude, that was so loud.
You guys were in a special kind of mood that night.
Oh yeah,
it was. I remember how loud Creeping Death was when they first started that. Just those dun 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 dun. I thought my head was gonna explode. And yeah, after about 3 songs, your hearing's gone, so it's a little bit better. But at first, I remember just how loud that was.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that list. And now,
my pleasure.
All right, and now, Bort, how about you?
Okay. Oh boy, I've been waiting all week for this watch show. Horror.
So what albums? Did you do live ones, or what did you do exactly?
I did the studio albums plus both S&M albums.
Okay. Did you include Lulu as a studio album?
I did not.
Good.
What is? I'm gonna interrupt here. What is Lulu?
So, Matt, or I'm sorry,
Tippy Tater Alligator.
It was a project that Metallica did with Lou Reed, and it's basically a lot of garbage guitar riffs and bad poetry.
Okay, all right.
I had never heard of Lou Reed before that album.
I had no idea who he is,
and I could have
pop star. Like I think he sang for the band Velvet Underground.
Okay.
Back in either the late 60s or early 70s. I'm really not familiar with a lot of their material, but I know Lou Reed was a pretty big deal in the 70s, but just not my cup of tea.
No, me either. So
sorry.
Anyways, sorry, Bort. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, my list will probably terrify Bob and Tippy Alligator.
Oh, try me.
Bring it on.
Okay. Number 13, Kill Them All. And yes, I know I pronounced it wrong. There are a couple decent songs on the album. But listening to that actual album is like getting your nose hairs pulled out one at a time. It does not sound good. I cannot stand the way it's sung. Again, I don't care for the way Hetfield used to sing or whatever it was back then at all. I don't care for that, and I didn't care for it back when I was liking Metallica more 20 years ago, and it's gotten worse since then. And, the few songs on there that I do like, the problem is over the years, I've heard them done better, whether, mostly through...
Hi.
Through the live versions over the years, when he toned down whatever the screeching or was. And so it's like nothing about that album would make me want to go listen to it. If I want to hear a good version of Seek and Destroy, I'd find a live version of it. Or I like the Four Horsemen. I'd prefer that, when it's done later on. So I just can't stand listening to that actual album.
Have you ever heard of No Life to Leather? The demo album of Kill 'Em All?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I think TTA showed it to me a few years ago.
Hetfield's voice on that album, I think, would be a lot more bearable to you than it is on Kill 'Em All. It's not as screechy on that one.
Okay.
And the recording, I think it sounds a little bit better than the actual Kill 'Em All album. What do you think, Tippy?
I guess it's definitely more underground, which I'm a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. But, well, plus they also got Dave Mustaine playing on that album too. It's
okay.
Yep. All right, boy.
Yeah.
Number 12, S&M 2. My main problem with that is just disappointment. I loved the first album. I'll get into that in a minute. But between the repeat songs and I don't know, it just Hetfield didn't sound great. I don't know if it's just because he's older. Again, I'm not hearing all these live performances. If it's just he can't sing as well as he used to, or what. And then The Unforgiven 3, one of my favorite songs they do, was just murdered. I just don't like that album at all.
Okay.
Number 11, the Black Album.
Ooh.
Wow.
I do not like this album. And the way I like to describe it is I have a tough time explaining it. I describe it sort of as AC/DC syndrome, where I quit listening to the radio altogether about 10 or 15 years ago when somebody called up the local hard rock station and was like, yeah, play me some AC/DC, man. And I'm like, why would anybody want to call up the radio to listen to the same song they've heard 20 years ago,
Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. You there?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we can hear you. Everything's
Okay,
frozen
good.
now.
I was just trying to get my... Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my...
Right in the middle of a good point.
I'm sorry. Start over from Jason's at Black Album. So why didn't you like the Black Album?
You made a good point with the radio station, so it sounded like you ended that, so go to your next one, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Like I said, I couldn't figure out why anybody would ever want to call up a radio station to listen to AC/DC. That's the same thing I think whenever I hear a song from the Black Album on the radio at this point. I can go my whole life without listening to Enter Sandman again. Great song. Don't need to hear it again.
Yep.
I mean, Bob, and you were the biggest Enter Sandman fan, with the Enter Sandman album you made off of Napster. Yeah, and I just think a lot of the songs are way overrated. And again, part of that's from hearing them for years and years and years. So yeah. Number 10, Master of Puppets. The album's solid. The vocal issues that I had a problem with in the Kill 'Em All album are they're getting better. But like I said on the Black album, the songs I do like, Master Puppet, Sanitarium, those types of songs, I don't really need to hear them again. I've heard them too much. But one thing is about a while ago, they started doing a version of Master Puppets with Sanitarium into one combined song that was really awesome.
Mastertarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, back
They were doing that back in like the early 2000s.
Okay, yeah, I really liked that. It'd be cool if there was a studio version of that at some point. Number 9 is the Hardwired to Self-Destruct album. I was shocked that it came out 6 years ago, and I don't feel like I've missed anything. And I haven't really listened to the album. I mean, I listened to it this week, and this was where Andrew Doo-doo said, that I was telling him a lot of the songs sounded the same, and that was just it felt almost like my initial listen to, because I haven't heard it probably since it came out 6 years ago. So I just don't have that good of an opinion on it. Number 8, And Justice for All. Sort of right in the middle there. I enjoy the album. It sounds different, which is good, because I thought a lot of their beginning stuff sounded the same, and a lot of their new stuff sounds the same. And so the album sounds really different to a lot of their albums in their repertoire. And there's quite a few songs I like on the album. Number 7, Death Magnetic. Looking at my notes here, I didn't put down a single thing for it.
Wow.
Came out in 2008, I believe. Unforgiven 3 is one of my favorite songs they ever did. Let's see here. Completely inoffensive, from what I remember. Did I say 7? Oh, whatever. Number 6 is Reload.
Okay.
8 was Injustice for All. 7 was Death Magnetic. 6 was Reload.
Yep.
Reload came right about when I first started listening to Metallica, right before S&M and stuff like that. Few songs I do like on there: Unforgiven 2, Memory Remains, Lone Man's Lyric. Unlike Andrew, I feel like Fuel is very overrated. Heard it a lot, thanks to 93X.
Wait, so the song's overrated or Doo-doo's overrated?
Little column A, little column B. Number 5 is Ride the Lightning. That song has a bunch of songs I do like. One that I don't is For Whom the Bell Tolls. Again, heard it way too much. But, I like Ride the Lightning, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, Call the Cthulhu. But the one issue I have with this album, why I wouldn't rate it higher, is, again, I've heard better versions of the songs later on. The live versions that I've heard over the years are better than what was on the studio album, so I rated it lower because of that. Number 4, Load. This one kind of surprised me. I know it gets it got a lot of flack when it came out. I don't know if people think any better of it now, but I just think it's a strong album. A lot of really good songs on it that I can still listen to today without a second thought. Number 3 is Garage Inc.
Sorry.
One
I have
moment.
a story for that after later.
Yeah, one moment.
So you can edit this out, so I'm going to say it. You, I think, were concerned with us ruining your podcast, and then all of a sudden you're lovely.
Well,
Well, I love that song. That is a great
Oh,
song.
it's a good song.
That's like a straight up Tourette's moment, Bob. I mean,
I went through the album, and there's 11 songs on there I still enjoy today. And it's like, well, if Master of Puppets has 8 songs total, and this album has 11 that I enjoy, how could I possibly rate any of those albums higher?
now, is it first disc, second disc, or the 11 on both discs?
Most of them are on the first disc. Astronomy may be my favorite song that they've in their repertoire that they have now.
Okay.
I love that song. You don't hear it much, and I've long felt like if that would be the best opening song that they could do at a concert, it would rock as a opener.
Yeah, it would sound good.
yeah, I'm sure the crowd would go flipping nuts for that one.
Yeah. But I understand why they don't with Ecstasy of Gold opening everything for years and years. But number 2, S&M. S&M was the Metallica album that came out right when I first started listening to them, and I love orchestrated metal music. That's my cup of tea. This album created something I didn't know existed at the time, and as my tastes have moved on, I'm still listening to a bunch of symphonic metal, from all over Europe now. That's really what I like. But this was, I didn't know that this kind of music existed, and I was just blown away by it when I first heard it. Listening to that album, I was hearing songs, because I didn't hear any Metallica before that or anything. And it was just so cool to hear it. And my funny story about this album is I went and bought it one day. It was in early December, middle of December, and I was just kind of bought it on a whim because I heard Bob talking about it. And Bob was talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. And Bob got so mad at me when I bought the album because he didn't have the album yet.
That sounds all right.
Did you share?
No, the issue... Oh, this gets better. The issue was Bob... Let's see, you were 14 at the time? 14-year-old Bob asked our overly religious grandparents for the album for Christmas. And I just cannot think of what is funnier than little old 72-year-old grandma going into a Target to buy an album entitled S&M. And Bob made her do that.
I was 14. I didn't really get the S&M part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
She gets up to the pearly gates and they're checking her in, and they're like, "Well, you almost didn't make it. There was that one time you went looking for S&M at Target."
You're like, "Oh, wait, come on back here. I have a few more questions." Funny.
Yeah.
All right, what's your number 1 here?
Number 1, wait for Matt to, or TTA to swallow first. Saint Anger. I love this album, and I can't really explain why.
No, you need to explain.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
It sounds completely different from every other album done. I know the entire album kind of sounds the same, but that's okay because it's different. a lot of the songs are insanely catchy, and I just enjoy listening to it. Bob and I, we were making numerous runs to a hospital in 2003 to visit our grandpa at the time, and we listened to this album pretty much every day over and over for weeks on end while we were doing this, and that's just kind of stuck with me sentimentally too. So yeah, I mean, I just enjoy the album, and it just sort of has the memories to go along with it. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
I'm glad
Thanks,
I'm
Ace.
a few 100 miles away from TTA, so he doesn't punch me right now. But
Oh, yeah. No, awesome. Thank you.
what was
Yeah,
that, TTA?
Oh, I was saying, with that being said, I'd like to go next if you don't mind, Bob.
Yep, go ahead.
Yep, no, first of all, thank you guys for sharing your lists, and let's see here, yep. Okay, now, how I kind of ranked them, well, like I said before, was, based on historically how I feel about them, and kind of how I would listen to them now. And a lot of how I rank them is, based on guitar playing. Because when I started playing guitar when I was around 16, all I wanted to do was learn how to play like Metallica, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath riffs, pretty much. And so, a lot of the stuff I was listening to at the time really stuck with me. And then a lot of, about half of it came in later. And the first album, or my first exposure to Metallica, was obviously like the Black Album. Back when I was a teenager, like 13 years old, obviously everybody knew the Black Album. In fact, I thought the Black Album was Metallica's first album. And then
You and like half the world.
Half the world.
Yeah, a friend of mine that was a little more tuned into the music scene was like, dude, they got like 4 albums before that. I'm like, what? And then and that was also around the time that the that Load came out, and I was obsessed with the song King Nothing. Like before school, I'd turn on MTV just hoping it would come on and just
They
rock
still played music back then?
Yeah.
MTV's played music videos.
Yeah, maybe up to like 2 years after that too.
Wow.
But yeah, anyways, gonna get on this list. How the albums that I did were I just did the 10 studio albums of original music.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be straight up top 10 list. I thought that would be, just
Yep.
Yeah,
fine.
great.
So even though I do love Garage Inc. and S&M, I've actually never even listened to S&M too. But
Good choice.
I'll take your word for it. Maybe someday. But the bottom is Saint Anger.
I'm leaving.
Uh-oh. He's leaving.
Hey. I respect your opinion, damn it.
I got to say, if I can, before you continue, with your guitar playing and watching your videos and stuff, and your knowledge of this stuff, I'm really looking forward to listening to you with your list. I've been waiting for it all week. You bet.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh yeah, getting back to Saint Anger. This is the only album, well, besides S&M 2, that I don't actually physically own. I've listened to it. I've tried listening to it after listening to it the first time, but it just doesn't work for me. And I struggle to find redeeming qualities to make me actually want to listen to it. I'm not going to talk about the bad production. Let's see, if there is one thing that I actually do like about it is the Course to Saint Anger, because it does have a real kind of punk rock feel to it, which I do enjoy. But as far as like songwriting, I mean, I have absolutely no emotional attachment to this album. It's
I think the lyric, "My lifestyle determines my death style."
and see, that's another thing with me. I'm not a big lyrics guy.
Yep.
You know, I could care less what you're talking, singing about.
Yeah, the touch base on that, the interrupt, that's an interesting thing. Even me and my wife talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
She's really big in listening to the words. I don't care about the words either. I'm like a melody. If they have a good vocal melody, that goes good with the music. But the words themselves and the lyrics, I've never cared about. I don't even know, half the Metallica songs' lyrics. I know what they sound like in my head, but they're not the actual lyrics because I don't pay attention to them.
Exactly.
So let's start with you, Tippy. What are your thoughts? You're saying kind of the same thing as me about you're not really big on the actual lyrics.
I view vocals as just another instrument.
All right, Bort, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the vocals are the most important part of the music, I believe, but in terms of the like what's being said or that, I don't really go that deep into it. I will say, I mean, I am not a big fan of the cursing in music. I don't think it's ever needed, and I think it's a crutch that bands use a lot to create a hook to their song. So I think there's a lot of songs where they put, edgy words into it just for the sake of trying to make the song seem better than it is.
Almost like a stock value type thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I remember with like Saint Anger, I mean, that was the first time I believe in one of the Metallica studio albums, they put a certain word that starts with an F into it. I might be wrong, but that was a big hook to that song in particular was that. And I might be wrong. You two on the bottom there are the experts, but I remember I was more uppity about that in particular back then. And I was like, come on, why do you got to do that? But the song just won out there. I just enjoyed it.
Cursing might have been edgy in like the 80s and 90s, but it's gotten played out a long time ago, and it just kind of these days just kind of, well, to me anyways, just goes water off the back.
Mm-hmm.
So.
There is one song that had a few curse words in there. Have you ever heard of "So What"?
Well, to be fair, they didn't even write that song. That was by the Anti-Nowhere.
I know, but there are plenty of words in that one. So
yeah, I mean, I wasn't counting Garage Inc. in that. In terms of the studio albums that they wrote, I thought that was the first time, but that's just the way I am. And again, with the music that I listen to now, I mean, it's all symphonic metal, power metal, and a lot of it is very, very clean music, that I can listen to with my kids in the car, and that, that's just kind of how I've always been. You guys know I'm not a big cursor in general, so I just kind of take that into music too. So
thanks, Dudu. What's your thought on the lyric stuff?
I don't have one. No, just kidding. I have a very diverse background when it comes to music, simply through driving and listening to different stuff. Being raised around our grandfather. A lot of 50s, 60s country music. Excuse me. And that's all it was words. It was just one melody and the person's voice and the words. And and I like that. When it comes to Metallica say, I brought that point up with Hardwired to Self-Destruct. The wording in it is fabulous, and but yet the drums on Now That We're Dead, I mean, I like it all. You know, you know, I can listen to a guitar riff and go, wow, that's really cool, while Tippy Tippy Alligator and Bob are sitting there breaking it down in their head. You know, I like it all. I like the music, and I like the words.
Yeah, I always thought it'd be interesting. If I ever met James Hetfield, I've always wanted to ask him what he gets more of like a thrill of, if he writes a really good guitar riff or a really good vocal line. Because that'd be interesting to hear what he feels more about it. Is it more important with the guitar stuff or the lyrical stuff? Because I think Hetfield, anyways, has the longer Metallica's gone on, I think he puts a lot more thought into his lyrics, because I think he channels a lot of his personal stuff through those. Oh, we got hands raised. All right. Tippy, you got it first.
Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to say about Saint Anger. I think back in 2003 when it came out, I was reading an interview with Lars in, I think it was like Revolver magazine or something. And at the time, he had just been introduced to the band Meshuggah. And when he heard it, it was like, of our stuff that's coming out, new album sounds like this. It doesn't.
I will say though, as far as words and music, the little stuff that I've heard Bob put together, I was really much listening to the music instead of the words that he was singing.
You don't want to hear me sing.
No.
Bort, you had your hand up too.
What's that?
I can't hear you. I think your mic's turned off, Bort. Your mic.
We almost made it through the whole thing without that happening.
Yep. But you had your hand up earlier or not?
No, I don't believe it. It was just Mr. TTA.
But I was saying,
right.
you know,
All right. Well, sorry to. I just got distracted a little bit because I thought that was a fun little thing here.
No, it was good.
So,
yeah, it was very good.
Tippy,
way to interrupt.
Keep going then. You can put your hand down, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. I've been trying to do that, but it's
tap
Go
it again.
back onto the thing. The bottom right, those three dots, and then you should be able to put lower hand.
Maybe he doesn't want to put his. Oh, jeez. Bort, that was good.
And plus, I think we're
there
going to
we
have
go.
to rethink. Plus, we're going to have to rethink before we start this. In the future, not have our actual real full names on the thing when you raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I keep your full name on there. So, but anyway, so Tippy, number 9. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay, number 9 for me is Reload. And I've kind of dubbed this album Reject because it sounds like a lot of the rejected songs from Load. You know, I think if you take the songs from Load, or the best songs from Load and Reload, you could have one hell of an album. I mean,
yes.
just cut out all the filler because, I mean, most of this album to me, it just sounds like filler. I keep trying to go back to this album, but it just doesn't stick with me. I mean, the first 2 songs, like, I mean, I like the song Fuel, even though I've heard it a zillion times, you know. It's definitely better in a live setting.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely does get the crowd going, you know, when James goes, give me an M, give me an E, give me a T, give me an A, give me a feel, give me fire, you know, yada, yada, yada. So, we all know the whole thing. But, I mean, it's just a good time, fun song. That's basically all it is. It's just straightforward, easy, fun time.
Yep. Get the crowd going.
Yep, indeed. Yep. And then the second song, The Memory Remains, it's never been one of my favorite songs, but I think it's a good song. It's a very original song. I mean, really, have you ever heard a song like it before?
Mm-hmm.
I
And I
think
love,
it's
I love the end, just the whole musical part at the end, and especially when it's live and they get the crowd into the na 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 na.
indeed. Once again, a really good live song as well. And it's goodness, that's about all I had to say about that album. Like, really, none of the rest of the album really sticks to me.
Okay.
So, number 8 is Death Magnetic. Is I know a lot of us are really excited when this comes out, or I'm sorry, when it came out, because there is a lot of rumors Metallica was going to get back into thrash and actual heavy metal again. And, when I first listened to it, I wasn't disappointed. I didn't think it was great. As far as the songs go, I really like the opener. This Is Just Your Life.
Mm-hmm.
But my big issue with this album is I think a lot of the fat could be trimmed. I think the songs could have been a lot shorter.
Mm-hmm.
This did not need to be an 80-minute album. It could have been like a 60 or even 50-minute album. I mean,
yeah,
you just you trim the unnecessary parts of those songs down, make them more cohesive songs, and I think it would have been a lot better than it turned out to be. And I kind of made a side note about James's vocals. They sound a little bit too dry. I think it could have dealt with a little more like delay and reverb and maybe a little more vocal harmonies. That could have, added to the atmosphere a little bit, I think. But other than that, I really don't have a lot to say about Death Magnetic. But it's been pretty forgettable for me. Just ever since it came out, never really latched onto it. And I gave it a good listen this week, and kind of have the same feelings about it. The next one is number 7 would be Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This seems like kind of a continuation of Death Magnetic, but I thought the songwriting was a little better. Some of the songs were more cohesive. I'm glad they started off with a song like Hardwired, even though like I said, I don't listen to or really don't care about the lyrics. The lyrics for this song are just kind of stupid.
Hey, no, I'm a huge Amy Winehouse fan.
But I did. But the song itself, I mean, the guitar playing, the drums, I just like they just went all.
It's just a classic sounding.
Yeah, just balls out, kind of thrash, kind of punky,
Yeah.
And then like the first disc of this album, it's pretty good, pretty solid. I mean, the songs are definitely listenable and worth more listens. The second disc, I cannot connect with anything except "Spit Out the Bone," which I think is probably their best song they released in about 20 years.
Good song.
It's a good song. It's I wouldn't put it in their top 10, but I can go back and listen to it again and still enjoy it.
Yep.
Okay. That's really all about I got for Hardwired.
Okay.
Number 6. What's that?
Oh,
Number
I just said good
6.
enough.
Go ahead. Number 6 is the Black Album. And got this album, like I said, when I was 14, just listened to it to death. And as Bort said, it does have the AC/DC Back in Black syndrome. I mean, we must have been telepathic with that opinion because, I mean, it's an album I can, go my life without ever hearing it again because it's already ingrained in my head. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with this album either. I have nothing bad to say about it whatsoever. But
There's such a thing as beating a dead horse, and it's been played way too much.
Indeed. I mean, and if I had one bad thing to say about it, it's how do I say this? You know, it was a pretty abrupt change from And Justice for All. Yeah. You know, I mean, you could say, like, And Justice for All was kind of a kind of like a midway point to when they were getting out of thrash and going towards a more commercial direction.
I think And Justice was, and I think I've heard them say something like this in interviews. They kind of had peaked in the complexity of their songs if they still wanted to maintain and be Metallica. Because Cliff Burton died after Master, they got Jason Newsted in, and they're like, okay, well, we got to show people we're still Metallica, so we're going to go at them by the throat. And they did. The songs on that album are so complex. But then they reach that point, and they're like, if we want to grow as a band, we can't keep going this direction. So then it does get to what you were saying, Tippy, about the Black Album then and the way it's written. They're a bunch of simpler songs, but they connected so much more with people. And I'll get into it a little bit more when I'm talking about my thoughts on it too. But I think that's kind of what you're saying, why it's different.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I guess I really don't got anything else to say about the Black Album. Number 5 is And Justice for All. When I was 16, I really latched onto this album. And, you know, and like I said, it was kind of a transition point, really. You know, from being the biggest underground band in the world to slowly becoming the biggest metal band in the world. And, you know, it is kind of a product of its time, too, because a lot of bands, you know, in the late 80s were starting to try to do, like, a little bit of the progressive stuff, you know. You know, like, you know, a song like Blanket, for example, where you have, you know, time changes every 7.5 measures. And, and, well, I mean, it's a popular thing to complain about that you can't hear the bass on the album. It's there if you listen hard enough, you know. But I love the guitar tone on this album. You know, I'm pretty sure this is probably around the time where they started using like active EMG pickups, because I just love that guitar tone.
Yeah, it's a lot chunkier.
Yep. And
could you explain what active EMG pickups are for those of us?
I would appreciate it.
Who aren't you and Bob?
Okay, well, active guitar pickups, pickups are what pick up the sound of the strings, and then through your cord projects it through the amplifier. Active pickups are powered by a 9-volt battery. It gives it a lot more power.
Okay.
I think. Yep.
Yeah, the batteries are on the actual back of your guitar. So you pull it out, you can plug the 9-volt battery in there. That powers both pickups. The passive ones, are those even powered? I don't know much about them.
No. A guitar itself isn't powered whatsoever. I mean, your pickups are just basically magnets.
Okay.
That you know, like I said, go through the cord and then go to the amplifier. Your amplifier is what is powered. You know.
Okay.
Yep. But in fact, where was I? Was I still talking about Justice for? Yep.
Number 5.
Yep. Anyways, Justice, great album. I have really nothing bad to say about it whatsoever.
Okay.
Number 4. I'm the third person so far that has ranked Load as number 4. You know, this album has so many strong points that even they just overshadow the bad spots. Like I can, or even though like gave this album a bad rap in the past, but those were, like during my early days as, say, like a metal purist, but still at the same time, songs like Outlaw Torn is one of my probably top 5 favorite Metallica songs.
Mhm.
And this is such a unique album too.
And people didn't know really
Like-
how to react to it at the time.
Indeed, yeah, because it was so unique, it was, nobody was expecting anything like this, really.
Well, it wasn't just the music; it was the image they had too, and the sound. They had a different sound. They dropped down a half a step in the tuning, so his vocals just sound a lot more, like I thought they sounded really a lot more powerful on this album.
Yep, indeed. And like if you break it down, I wouldn't even consider this. It's barely a heavy metal album. It's more like a hard rock album, and of course, you can lump Reject into that too. So, but like I said, if you
Checked.
if you lump the best songs from Load and Reload in, I think you'd have
A great album.
a great album at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've always thought about that of how if you just take because there are more better songs on Load than Reload. But yeah, you take the 5 or 6 off of Reload, throw them onto the good ones of Load. Man, that album would be incredible.
Yeah, and yeah, again, like I said, I mean, some of my favorite songs of this album are like, Ain't My Bitch Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, obviously. I told the King Nothing story before, watching MTV.
2x4.
Let's say Mama Said. Not a fan of 2x4.
Okay.
I gotta leave that off my list of favorites. And even the pseudo country song Mama Said, I can listen to that over and over again, But yeah, so we'll leave Load there. Number 1 through 3, got the Cliff Burton trilogy. It's always been this way for me, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. Number 3.
Do you have them ranked in a certain way, or just?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Gots to rank them 1 through 3. Number 3, Kill 'Em All. Yeah, it was a big defining moment in metal here. This is kind of what brought, even though at the same time there are many bands doing thrash metal back in the early 80s, this is what kind of started to bring it out from the underground, where it started getting a little bit of more popularity. And this is, to me, it's a fun album, despite the the cover with the blood and the hammer or whatever. The whole tone of this album it's kind of like just a good time fun, really. I mean, you got these, yeah, I mean, really, essentially, I mean, it's, James Hetfield and Dave Mustaine are pretty much the main songwriters, with this, and it's just they're taking their late 70s or early 80s heavy metal influences. It's very blues based and it's played very fast, and like songs like Seek and Destroy, Jump in the Fire, Hit the Lights. When I started playing guitar, these were the riffs that I wanted to learn how to play. And for a beginning guitar player, it's actually, pretty easy to learn. As long as you can play it up to speed, it's just, this album was just always a lot of fun. And James's voice is definitely listened to hard to at the times because he sounds like he's going through puberty most of the album.
He was a terrible singer. Terrible.
Well, he's still not even that great, but I mean, he has his place,
Can I circle back on something you said? I just have like a hypothetical kind of question for everybody. Now, I don't know Matt is. I think are you guys familiar with the Cliff Burton and Dave Mustaine, who they are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. What do you guys think? Let's say Dave Mustaine didn't get kicked out of Metallica, and let's say Cliff Burton didn't get killed in that bus accident. How do you think Metallica would have been if it was the four members of James, Lars, Dave Mustaine, and Cliff Burton? How do you think their career would have been? Do you think it would have been better? Or do you think they would have been a lot more narrow-minded and a lot more just focused on that thrash route, and they wouldn't have gotten as big?
Well, would they have the same songs? I mean, the sound.
Yeah, they would have completely different
the sound would totally be different.
No, Dave Mustaine would have gotten kicked out eventually.
Yeah.
It was a matter of time. I mean, he was too big for it.
What about the original
Metallica.
bassist, Hulk Hogan?
No, it was the original. He tried out for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lars dispelled that theory. I'm sure many people have asked him that.
Whose word are you going to take? Lars or Hulk Hogan?
Hogan.
James
He
Hetfield
once
is
body
solid.
slammed Andre the Giant, who weighed 758 pounds in front of 257,000 people.
At the Superdome.
While Metallica was going through his head.
Yeah.
As much of a BSer as Lars is, I'll take his word over. Terrible is.
But yeah, I don't think they would have been successful. I mean, I think the music would have been different, better some ways, but I think it wouldn't have been good in some ways, because I think having those different influences of Kirk Hammett and Jason Newsted eventually, I think that helped get him a little bit more of that groovy aspect of the Black Album and of Load. And without those albums, I don't think they'd be as mainstream as they are now. And I think being in the mainstream has helped them too. Just my 2 cents. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they're not in the mainstream, they probably don't survive for 40 years.
No.
So, yeah. In terms of your question, I really have no way to answer that. Yeah, that's
a very big what if, but
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely big. And if Dave wouldn't have got kicked out, they would have probably either killed each other or split up, and you wouldn't have even had it. Yeah, indeed. Dude, like I said, Dave was just too big for the band. He had to do his own thing, and it was a good thing he did. Yep, absolutely, I agree. Okay, number 2. Well, number 1 and 2 have always been a hard choice, but number 2 is Ride the Lightning. This is, Cliff Burton has he has songwriting credits on just about, if not every one of the songs on this album, and this is where they really started to grow musically, because now they start introducing harmonies and just a more well-rounded songwriting. It's near perfection. It's a lot darker album than Kill 'Em All is. I mean, just everything from the cover to the production, to the songwriting too.
That might be the best album cover they've ever done.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's just a completely different atmosphere, a completely different mood. But the one thing that doesn't fit is the song Escape, because it just doesn't sound like it fits on this album. It sounds like like the happy song. There shouldn't be a happy song on this album.
I've gotten to the point now where, though, I couldn't picture the album not having Escape, because it's been such that wide array of you either love it or you hate it. But
no, and I absolutely. I mean, I like the song.
Yep.
You know, it's definitely not my favorite, but I think it's a great song actually. You know, it's super catchy.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you got the harmonizing guitars that follow the vocal line during the chorus. You know, I mean, and you know, all the elements of a good heavy metal song are there. I just don't think it fits on the album. No.
Yep. Cool. And then that leaves your number one.
Number one, Master of Puppets. I mean, I just think
Yep.
it is the quintessential heavy metal album.
Bort, your microphone's off.
I know. I'm trying to mute myself to give TTA the whole, you know,
Floor.
the whole mic. Yeah, the floor. There we go. I know words. I'm going to go mute myself again to not interrupt this brilliant discussion.
I really don't know if I have anything to say or brilliant to say about it, but I remember I bought this album on my 16th birthday. This was the first time I listened to it. And really the only Metallica I was familiar with beforehand was, like I said, the Black Album and King Nothing and whatever else I'd heard from Load at that time. And I think a buddy of mine made me a mixtape which had the cover of The Small Hours on it, and Am I Evil? Well, which is also a cover. But I mean, it was completely game changing for me and how I viewed heavy metal music, because it just opened an absolute new world for me. Because, you know, at the time Master of Puppets came out, you know, they were signed to a major label, but they were still really
Matt, hang on.
Yep.
We lost Bob again.
Did ya?
Yeah, we can hear you. I got no picture. Oh, there we go. Sorry, Matt.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah, they were still kind of an underground band, even though they were signed to a major label. So I guess you can't call it the greatest underground album of all time, but I mean,
were they Elektra back then?
They were actually well, they were originally on Megaforce, but I think Megaforce bought them, or not Megaforce, but Elektra bought them out, or bought the contract when before Ride the Lightning.
Okay.
So that's why you can still find copies of Kill 'Em All on Megaforce and Elektra.
Oh, cool.
So
yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Wow, awesome. That was a very detailed list of. I like the breakdowns that everybody has. I like how you got a lot more of a musical approach, and then you got a lot of your you got your experiences on the road that you bring into it with the feel. And then Bort, I like how you were bringing up your old memories of the stuff.
It's cool to listen to. Real quick, it's cool to listen to the technical side too that TTA and you bring together. You know, it's interesting.
I'm gonna start calling you Top of the Tater, by the way.
Top of the Tater.
That flows off my tongue a little bit better.
Oh, I'll top it. Don't you worry about that.
All right. I guess I'm last here, so I'll go pretty quick here. There's not a whole lot to be said. I don't think that already hasn't been said. I did the studio albums, and then I did the S&M 1 and 2 and Garaging. So yeah, I will start with my 13 S&M 2. That was by far the biggest disappointment ever in a Metallica album for me. The biggest reason I think I was so upset is I think it was such a big missed opportunity to do songs that we didn't get in the first one. You know, a Fade to Black or a Sanitarium, Unforgiven, stuff like that. With some of the older, Fire, Harvester. So I thought those have been cool on there. But it was just a lot of bad versions of the original album, S&M, Master of Puppets, I thought was awful on this album. It was a completely different orchestral mix of it. Then they threw a couple of the other, the orchestra people threw some things in there for Metallica to play along with, which is a cool concept. They try to do something different with the album, but I thought the swings and misses too. And yeah, the songs that they did do that were new were very underwhelming. The orchestra was minimal, it seemed like, and it wasn't that creative. And it was a very, very disappointing album to me. And I think that was something Bort was talking about heavily too, was how disappointing it was to him too. So yeah, so that was that one for me. Number 12 is a Reload, strictly because it was like TTA was talking earlier, a complete, seemed like filler album. There's a couple songs that, 4 or 5 that were really good that probably combined with Load would have been perfect. It's just, I don't like the filler aspect of it. There are some good songs on there that are unique. I love Bad Seed. I really love it. I think that's one of their heaviest songs. Attitude is a song that I don't think anybody even knows exists, but I love that song. If I see Doo-Doo shaking his head. But no, I love that song. But a lot of the other stuff just boring and filler. So yeah, that's really low for me on that one. So number 11, I got Death Magnetic. To me, it was a poor version of Injustice for All. I feel that they tried to get that complex level there, but I think it was a swing and a miss at a lot of points. I do like that they brought back, the instrumentals with Suicide Redemption. I like that song, but it was released 2008. The recording and the mixing I didn't like either, and that's something I would go back to Reload. One thing I would really say was good was that it was a really good quality album. It was really well made. Death Magnetic was not really well made. It was very, very bland sounding, I thought, when it came to production. And for me, that's a big deal when I'm listening to an album. I actually have to like what it sounds like, and I just don't like what it sounds like. Did anybody else get that on Death Magnetic?
I did, definitely. Like I think I mentioned earlier, James's vocals could have used a little bit more, like, delay and reverb, and then also a little more harmonies too.
Yep. In this album, I know they went back to the standard tuning, and I think the Rick Rubin, who made the album, I think he wanted them to, because he said he liked how James Hetfield's voice sounded when he was at standard tuning. I don't think so. I think he sounds better that half step down, because I think he has a lot more range there, like on the Reload and the Load type of vocals.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Number 10, I got Garage Inc. It's got a lot of good songs on there, but it's a cover album. So that's why I didn't want to rank it higher. I love when they released it in, what was it, 98? And I like that they included all the old stuff too from the other albums, the Am I Evils and the Prince and all that. That was cool to have that second bonus disc. But again, it's a cover album, so I'm trying to keep that a little higher up. Number 9 is Kill 'Em All. So it gets back to the production value of it. I like the energy of it. I like the songs, but it doesn't really excite me to listen to. Maybe because I've just heard it so much. But getting what Bort was saying, I really was connecting with what you were going off of why am I going to listen to Kill 'Em All when I can listen to Cunning Stunts or S&M and get a 10 times better version of that song that's actually going to sound better too. And that kind of is big with me. So I love all the songs on Kill 'Em All. It's just production value. Just to me is kind of, you can tell it was made in 1983. And I'd rather maybe listen to a different version of that song, a little bit newer, that's a little bit more updated. Next one is another one, kind of the same reason, Injustice for All. Now, the songs are great on Injustice for All, and I almost rate this one at like number 1 because of the remaster that they did. It has the
a concert from 1989 in Seattle, which is my favorite live concert they ever did, and they remastered it and included it on this album. But I didn't want to include the extra stuff in the thing, so that's why I stayed with that. But yeah, not a lot to say more about that. Number 7, I got Saint Anger. Yeah, it's a hit and miss for me. Some of the songs are terrible. Some of the songs are redundant, but it has that special place in my heart. Around 2002, 2003, me and TTA were really big in the music stuff then, and we were bouncing stuff off each other. He was giving me stuff to listen to, and System of a Down, that's when I really got into them. Saint Anger was the first album that came out of Metallica where I was a huge Metallica fan. So I would actually go on the internet and see them making their album, creating it. And that was exciting for me. So that really hit home with me there. So that's why I think I do like it so much. And plus, when they released it, they had a DVD of them performing all the songs in studio. And those versions of the songs sound a lot better than the actual album, I think. So I enjoy listening to that too. But there are still some things like Saint Anger's. That's pretty much the same song, or the song is the same, just repeated twice. That just seemed lazy to me. So little stuff like that where it seems like they just added extra riffs in there to make the songs longer. Or, let's play the chorus again. Let's like, oh, played it 5 times already. That just got kind of old for me there. Number 6, I got Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I love the album. I like the production value. I think it sounds a lot better than Death Magnetic did. I like that it almost seems like a greatest hits, because it's got some really good stuff from like the first 4 albums. It's got some good quality Black Album stuff with like Dream No More. It's got some really good like Load aspects, like Man Unkind. I thought it's like a really groovy kind of Load song. So I like how it's kind of a mixture almost of their whole category thrown into one album. So yeah, it's got a lot of good. It does have some filler songs on there, like "Am I Savage" is a very big filler song, I think. But I don't think you're ever going to really have a perfect album. So I guess filler songs are going to be there. But number 5, I got Load. The production value, I think, is fantastic. Yeah, songs are very good. Eat My Bitch is one of my favorite Metallica songs. I don't know why, I just love the riff of it. Unfortunately, they haven't played it since like 97, I think. I keep hoping they're going to bring it back. But yeah, all the songs on there, it feels like a pretty well put together album. And the songs that they have on there, they get a lot of radio airplay, and I think Metallica's success grew significantly from Load, because of all the success that Black Album had. It brought them to that next level. And when they released Load, it was something different, kind of like the Black Album was something different. But now that they were so much more popular, I think it brought them to that next level too. So I think people have a special place in their heart for it as well. Yeah, so then number 4, I got the Black Album. I know it does have that AC/DC kind of thing, but I love it. Even now, I'd put it in and I'd listen to every song on there. Just more than anything, just it sounds so good. There's not an album I think that sounds better than that one. It just, everything fits together perfect. The bass on there, they did such a good job with Jason Newsted's bass. The lyrics that Hetfield did, they're just, everything on that album was great. I love the songs. The simple songs approach, I thought, worked really well here. It was kind of exactly what they needed. And say what you want, I know it's overplayed, but Sandman, man, that's a good song. I'm sorry, it's overplayed, but I love it.
It's really cool to see Sandman live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I've done that song on karaoke.
Yep. So number 3, I have Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets. I think it's pretty much the same thing that Tippy Tater Alligator was saying. So my things are pretty much the same that he was saying. I just love the album. I love the recording, how it sounds. It has that really thrashy type of sound, which I really like. I've gotten that tone on my guitar saved on my amp, and it's fun playing along to that album with that tone because it just has that really just thrashy sound. So then number 2 is Master of Puppets. Pretty much like the perfect album. I mean, the songs are written perfectly. The recording's really good. But everything just seems to fit in place perfectly. There's not like any filler riff, any filler lyric. Everything just melds together perfectly, I think. And then number 1 for me is S&M. S&M is what really brought me to that next level as a Metallica fan. I know me and Bort, we listened to S&M a lot. No Leaf Clover was just that's top 5 Metallica song for me ever. It has that memory, that special memory.
That song was so awesome because that was the first real Metallica song I fell in love with, and there was not a place in Cottage Grove that I couldn't get to from driving from our home to that place, whether it be work, school, anywhere. I could get there exactly in the time it took for that song to play.
Well, listening to you guys talk about that, even though I'm not a live album guy, I'm going to have to listen to it now.
Oh. And it's just that was the thing too with why I think I hated S&M 2 so much. Because I loved S&M so much. And I put it on an impossible pedestal to try and compete with. But even the sound of S&M 2, or of S&M 2 compared to S&M, the sound is horrible. S&M just sounds just crisp and heavy. And it was made, 20-some years ago. And I'm thinking S&M 2 should sound 10 times better. And it just sounded just bad. And the set list on S&M 1 was fantastic. It was like a greatest hits thing of their first, 7 or 8 albums. And they used the orchestra phenomenally on there. Michael Kamen, the orchestra director, he did such a good job creating that vibe in the environment in the whole, throughout the whole album there. And I did like 2, because that was one thing me and Bort were talking about when it was out, was we always wanted to hear a orchestra-free version of No Leaf Clover. And we never could. And I remember MTV played some concert where they actually had a live version of it. You remember that, Bort?
Yep.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, Bob, you got to come listen to this. And we're just like, whoa, it doesn't have orchestra. And then after it started, we're like, I understand why it needs orchestra. Because it just sounds like a pretty bland song without it. But where I was going with it, it is cool on the S&M DVD. You can actually change the audio so you can either get orchestra only or band only. So you can get like the No Leaf Clover or the Minus Human without the orchestra. And I always thought that was kind of cool to hear too. But no, S&M was just, it has that special place in my heart. And that'll always, I think, be kind of my favorite album. So that's all I got for it.
Really cool listening to all 4 rankings, and for different reasons too. That's the best part.
Yep. Indeed. Every list was completely different from.
Yeah. And then I'll quickly go over, I'll take like 2 seconds to go over the world's rankings of them. So the world has the worst album being Saint Anger.
And this world sucks.
And then it has Reload as the next one. And then Load as the next one.
I don't want to hear anymore.
And then Hardwired to Self-Destruct.
Oh, come on.
And then Death Magnetic. And then the Black Album. Then Injustice. Or no, the Black Album, then Kill 'Em All. Then Injustice for All. Then Master Puppets. And then Ride the Lightning's number 1. So.
Surprised the Black Album's that low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised with that, and then I'm surprised they put Death Magnetic higher than Hardwired too. None of us had that. No, oh, go ahead.
What? I honestly don't know. What's their best-selling album ever?
Black Album.
Most likely Black. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And especially now that they just did that reissue of it, that's up the sales up higher.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's funny that I think it's looking at the rankings how, especially like Tippy has Saint Anger at number 10, and then Bort has that number 1. I find that how I just find it funny how we can sit here and we can have a fun conversation about a topic like this when your interests are so polar opposite. Because those are, your number 1 compared to Tippy's number 1 are so different, and his one he hates is so different. And that's what I like about Metallica is it's all inclusive. They don't make political stuff. They don't talk about the religious stuff. This is about the music. That's all it's about. And they welcome everybody into it, and then everybody can have their good opinions to what is their favorite or what their type of Metallica is. Because Metallica's band, obviously, they've written all these albums, but they're written them in such different chunks that you can say, well, I'm a fan of the early Metallica, or I'm a fan of the 90s Metallica. And they're almost like completely different bands there because the content's so different. So I think it's just, they're such a fun band, and that's why I think everybody enjoys them so much, is because they are such a fun band.
One of the things I really enjoyed was when we went to that concert, which was my first, Hetfield was talking about the Metallica family. And you had young people and old people, and that's that's the music, but that's also Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a question for Tippy.
Yes.
When am I going to see Bad Seed on your YouTube channel? Please. Please.
You'll make her have to listen to Reload. No.
I'm actually going to have to listen to it because I cannot recall from my cognitive memory what that sounds like.
It's good. It's good. It's good. You would, you'd have at least one like right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
although what I did gather is because I actually made a note of it here. Now I actually have to listen to S&M too to see how the production differs, because I am a fan of some kinds of low production style music, as in.
I don't think that was the intent of the album, though.
Good point.
What's that? Low production? I'm there.
Oh yeah, I got to get that.
I mean, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's fans of low production podcasts too, and we're gonna wrap them up.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yes, we'll be the number ones for them.
Yeah.
Funny,
but yeah, the production. I mean, when I say the production, it doesn't sound bad.
No, I'm sure it doesn't. I mean, it probably cost a few $1 million at least to produce this album. But
it was just very underwhelming. I was just like, okay, if S&M, I always wanted a second S&M. And when I heard they were bringing it out, I'm like, this is going to be the best. And I think I just put it on such a high scale because S&M's my favorite. And you can't really compete with it. And I would think I was just so disappointed in what could have happened and did not happen.
Excellent.
Yep, cool. Well, yeah, I don't have anything else for the rankings. I think we kind of nailed them pretty good on it.
Hang on there, Bob. We might have lost Matt.
Nope, I got him.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just going straight up through my computer now, I think.
Okay, hang on. I got to go that road, too. My phone's about to die.
Oh.
You hear me?
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
No issues here.
No, I thought this went pretty good, guys. I love sitting here and just enjoying this stuff and just enjoying the camaraderie and the topics that I don't think we'd really sit around and just do this on around a bonfire. So I think it kind of pushes us to kind of get outside our comfort zone a little bit and talk about some stuff that we usually don't. So it's fun for me. And yeah, I'm grateful to be part of this whole thing. I think it'll be fun. We'll try and do it at least once a week. And yeah, hopefully if people listening like it, well, maybe they can start giving some suggestions about what we should do, and we'll see where it goes.
Could you tell our dear listener what our subject's going to be for next week, or who's going to be the host?
Listener.
Yeah,
I think I don't know who's ready. I've got a subject ready if you guys want to go with it for next time. I can't remember what we talked about in that production meeting we had, but production meeting.
Whoever wants to go, it doesn't matter. I know Dudu saying he had something. I know Bort, you say you have something. Tippy, do you have anything that you wanted to do next week?
No, I really didn't think ahead about it. But like Dudu said, we could just do some crazy stories.
I got some crazy stories from when I was driving. We could talk about them. Add what you want when you want to, and
yep, I like that idea.
Or Jace, if you want to, or Bort, if you, it doesn't matter. If you want to take it, take it.
Okay, well, my idea was each of us would do the top 3 most stupidest things that they have ever done that they're willing to admit to on a podcast.
Well, I haven't done anything stupid.
Only 3?
Just the top 3.
Oh.
Well, probably, can getting married count as 3?
And again, I'm the one that's divorced.
Trying to teach you and Bob how to drive a stick and a quarry.
So we have a couple. We'll figure out one way or another.
Yeah.
We'll either the most embarrassing things, the stories, or we can kind of tie them both together. So we'll figure it out next week. It'll be something fun, either some funny stories. It'll be funny stories no matter what, matter what topic we take. So, but yeah, I got nothing else for this one. I thought it went really well, and I appreciate anybody who did listen to this. I appreciate them for listening.
Thank you very much.
Yep. I appreciate you. I'm
Thanks,
talking
Mom.
to that one person, probably my mother.
Yes.
Oh no, your Aunt Laura will probably not listen.
All right, so
average time listened on YouTube 8 seconds. They'll
All
see
right,
a dog in a toilet, and then they'll be like, "What in the world?"
Wait, how the heck did this video get recommended?
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll stop the recording here, and then we'll have a quick little meeting after this is done. So thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thank you.
And next time we'll have an outro song too, maybe. So Tippy, you're on that.
Bad seed.
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Yep. All right. Give me ideas now.
I want to be a Hulkamaniac.
Can do a bad cover of Bad Seed.
There you go.
Oh, perfect. All right. See ya.
Thank you, everybody.